Welcome to NASA Daisha. In this video, we are going to count down the top 10 best new Netflix original shows that premiered in 2024 thus far. Just 2 months into this year, Netflix featured some of the top web series of 2024, ranging from the biggest anime live-action adaptations to unique ninja dramas to thriller action that you should definitely check out. Now let's start the video. Number 10. Furies. It is a crime action thriller series created by Cedric Nicholas Troyan, Jean-Yves Arnaud, and Joanne Legoff. The central character of the series is Lina, a young woman who craves the peace and quiet of an ordinary existence, but in her quest for revenge for her dad's killing, she becomes caught up in the complicated conspiracy of Fury, the peacekeeper of the Parisian gang underworld. All of this happens because of her parents' connections to some of the most infamous crime households in the city, which causes Lina to embark on an investigation into the murder of her dad by breaking into the Parisian crime cartel, where she meets the Fury, and together they discover a sinister plot that puts the shadowy world of crime in danger. The Furies is primarily set in an unlawful underworld, where organized criminal activity is portrayed in a complex web of intricate royal families, Cesar godfathers, and mysterious codes of conduct, which at times remind you of John Wick's The Continental. But unlike The Continental, Furies has an easy-to-follow plot, lots of action, and isn't truly that complex. Number 9. The Signal. It is a sci-fi mystery series starring Florian David Fitz, Kiri Baumeister, and Una Bennett. The plot concerns the strange disappearance of astronaut Paula amid her mission in space, and the struggles of her husband, Sven, to raise their daughter alone while conducting an investigation. While attempting to shelter his daughter from the horrific occurrences, Sven realizes that he is onto something, and he thinks Paula sent him a hint that Sven should follow. However, the farther he travels on the evidence, the more his life disintegrates, and the deeper the mystery expands, putting him and ultimately the whole planet in danger. In contrast to many science fiction shows, The Signal approaches the genre from a realistic perspective, merging it with suspense and emotion to create an engaging package. The story maintains great tension, with the revelation of a mysterious disappearance serving as the pivotal segment. But the most compelling aspect of the show is actually how well the narrative depicts the father-daughter bond, and how we can relate to their purpose. Overall, unless you're looking for crazy science fiction, this series will not let you down. Number 8. The Mire. It is a 2018 crime drama thriller series created by Jan Halaubeck. The third season of show debuted on February 28, 2024. The plot takes place in late 1980s Poland and centers on a pair of reporters named Piotr and Teresa Zarzicki, who are workers of a regional newspaper in a tiny Polish community. Through their investigations, they learn of underlying fraud and sinister secrets that hide beneath the facade of their peaceful society. The first season centers on the murders of the mayor of the area and a girl, with reporters Piotr and Teresa commencing their investigation. While the second season delves into an inquiry into an unresolved flood that links to events during World War II, the events of the third season take place in the early 2000s, with the authorities looking into a corpse in Grunty Forest and an upsurge of terrifying kidnappings. Throughout the investigations, there is turmoil, instability in politics, and social transformation, forcing Piotr and Teresa to face their own worst fears and discover what is true. The third season provides the audience with some much-needed clarifications, as well as hidden details and links from the previous season's plot. All things considered, The Mire is a riveting account of a volatile era in Polish history, fusing aspects involving political tension, mystery, and crime to produce an engaging and thrilling story. Number 7. One Day. It is a romantic drama series based on the 2009 book of the same name by David Nichols. The story centers on the 20-year relationship between Emma Morley and Dexter Mayhew, who met at a farewell dance shortly after graduating from the College of Edinburgh. The story starts with their first meeting on July 15, 1988, the evening of their obtaining their degrees. They have an enjoyable night together and move on the following day. But their narrative is far from done. The two begin a friendship, which eventually evolves into love. The narrative revisits that day, July 15, for a span of 20 years to illustrate each stage of their lives. Every episode begins and ends with this one regular day in each of their respective lives in the subsequent year, and every year after that. The audience witnesses snippets of their bond as they work through arguments, failed chances, and reconciliations, while the actual significance of this one day becomes clearer as the years go by. The series creates compelling story analyses by adhering faithfully to the characters and plot of the book. In contrast to the movie version, the series takes its time to build the narrative and bring out the passionate and emotional aspects of the book. Not to forget, the parts are expertly portrayed by the brilliant actors Ambika Ahmad and Leo Woodall, who also add depth and chemistry to them. Number 6. The Brothers' Son. It is an action comedy drama created by Brad Falchuk and Byron Wu. Even though the show was recently cancelled, it's still worth watching because the first season ends well, and it should not affect your enjoyment. The narrative centers on young Charles Sun, a Taiwanese mafia boss's son, who, following a mysterious attack on his father, is brought to Los Angeles to defend his mother and younger brother, who have no knowledge of the family's illicit company operations. The rest of the narrative follows Charles, as he meets his brother, who was unaware of Charles until the day he arrived to keep them safe. Every episode has all the elements of a traditional mob story, but it also injects a dark sense of comedy to keep the drama interesting in between the thrilling action scenes. The show's action is so inventive and fast-paced that it captivates you and keeps you looking. However, its emotional core and light-hearted nature do not perfectly support the narrative, as do the cast's outstanding performances and outstanding action. In general, the show is a display of skillful martial arts and amazing action, mixed with an unexpectedly emotional dark comedy, in which family is just as furious as Knuckles, and both have a lot of punch. Number 5. Boy Swallows Universe. It is a teen drama limited series, based on the book of the same name, by Trent Baldwin. The show unfolds in the 1980s and centers on middle-class boy Eli Bell, who resides with his mother Frances, a rehabilitating heroin dependent, his stepfather Lyle, a drug seller, and his sibling Gus, who is mostly silent. Despite the absence of his drunken father, Eli is resolute in his pursuit of righteousness, but as soon as the secret telephone in his home rings, he begins speaking with an unknown voice on the other end, giving him a ton of information to figure out. In order to find out more, he seeks the aid of crime reporter Caitlin Spies, and what they discover is extremely distressing. Cameron, as Eli, is superb. He conveys the honest feelings of Eli with smart ease. The story is a powerful storm of crime, growing up, drama, and outstanding acting. If we compare it to the book, this adaptation is fantastic, incorporating clever changes to the plot, establishing characters beyond Eli's viewpoint, and creating a delicious tale out of Australian popular culture from the 1980s. Number 4. A Killer Paradox. It is a 2024 crime drama series, directed by Lee Chang-hee. The show centers on Lee Tang, a typical college student who, while working late at night, inadvertently smashes a hammer and kills a customer. But when Lee discovers that the first person he killed was a cunning serial killer, his perspective abruptly changes, and he resolves to convert into an agent of justice, eliminating other criminals, while the police investigation puts him on the watch list of Jang Nan Gam, the reputable investigator, who goes to great lengths to apprehend the person responsible. The show flawlessly integrates the suspense in its first few episodes, and the writing feels condensed and tightly written. However, the issue arises when an additional character is added approximately midway through the season, and the plot occasionally seems to be overdone. Although the mystery element feels slightly flat, their execution is still quite exquisite, and the thrill and tension are well hit. Plus, the show's conclusion does wrap everything up, and it is adequately rewarding in and of itself. Number 3. House of Ninjas. It is a Japanese action thriller series, created by Dave Boyle. Well, it's the best Netflix series of 2024 thus far, plus it features ninjas, so what more could we want? The Tawara family is the focus of the story. They are shinobis, who reside in a conventional Japanese house of ninjas. Meanwhile, the Tawara family gave up on their ninja responsibilities and training 6 years ago, when their family member gets killed while on an assignment to save a politician. However, the family is pulled back into the shadowy realm of their past when an unexpected disaster in the shape of a cruise catastrophe that takes many lives happens, while they have to come back and deal with an enemy clan that is thought to be gone. Aside from the brutal ninja action, the Tawara family involves quirky individuals with fantastic chemistry that makes the show very entertaining regardless of the fact that it frequently uses cliches and conventions, but it has a crazy cliffhanger finale that is thrilling yet troublesome. With a blend of comedy, family drama, and action, the show explores Japanese culture and modern ninjas, and never fails to captivate audiences with its unique premise. Number 2. The Gentleman. It is a crime drama series, created by Guy Ritchie. It is a spin-off of Ritchie's 2019 film of the same name. The show follows Eddie Halstead, who just acquired a 15,000-acre property after his father's passing. However, he quickly finds out that his father's previous business deal includes a connection with the land. That is, Mickey Pearson's illegal, but extremely profitable subterranean marijuana operation is located below the land. The episodes follow Eddie as he battles Mickey Pearson's marijuana-growing empire, struggles to stay alive, and defends his house from pot-related criminality and dangerous people who have sinister intentions. In terms of the primary cast, James is completely believable as the new Duke of Halstead, but Vinnie Jones is the one who unexpectedly stands out. The first part of the show plays out as an ongoing sequence of operations, as Eddie tries to save his family and his house, and ends up doing odd jobs for a group of criminals and lunatics. However, as it gets closer to its peak, it ultimately settles into a more defined direction. All things considered, the show is sleek and exceptionally well cast, with a modest but impactful conclusion. But it lacks the same spark of excitement that his Ritchie films possess, and it's very puzzling how disengaged it is from the amazing movie that serves as its inspiration. Number 1. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is a fantasy adventure series developed by Albert Kim. First off, there's good news. A second and third season of the show have been renewed, and now is the perfect moment for those who haven't seen it yet. The show is an adaptation of an animated show and takes place in a universe where some individuals, referred to as benders, are able to control one of the four traditional elements: earth, fire, water, and air. The plot revolves around Aang, the last living airbender and avatar, who has been charged with bringing order to the universe by conquering each of the four elements and overthrowing the oppressive Fire Nation, which seeks to eliminate other elements to gain control over the entire planet. Soon, on his quest to learn each element, he meets new friends and enemies, overcoming many obstacles, and picking up important lessons about courage, friendship, past avatars, and responsibilities. The anime series is a legendary masterwork that enthralled viewers with its deep storytelling, intriguing characters, and rich bending world building. Although the show isn't quite as great as an anime, it's still one of the best adaptations fans could hope for, and it's much superior to the movie version.